It's about giving back. All of these conferences, everything that 20 Books does is about giving back. You see that this is nonprofit, right? So we're going to refund a little bit of your conference fee, your registration fee, because we didn't use it all. So here, you take back what we didn't use. We're here to share. We tell you what works for us. We don't tell you what will work for you. Only you will know what works for you. We give you some methodologies for testing what you're doing. Here, A/B testing, Michael Cooper with his ads, with his read-through, how to calculate ROI a little better. And a professional like Mark Dawson says, hey, Michael Cooper showed me that some ads have higher value than what I thought they had. And Mark is teaching classes on ads, and still, you can always learn something new. Everybody can learn something. You should see Michael's notebook. The notes that he's taken from this. Everybody can learn something. You can learn something from everybody, no matter where you are on your journey up the mountain. And what's holding you back? Well, that's what Faleena is here to help you get past.
First, let me just test the sound. You guys hear me? Yep. Back there? We're all good? Okay, so just to introduce myself, my name is Faleena Hopkins. In January of 2016, let's see, was it 2016? Yes, January of 2016 and February of 2016, I made about $600 a month. And before that, I had made up to $8,000. I had switched genres and tanked. Apparently, the genre I was trying to go into was not my genre, which I heard in reviews. This is not this author's genre. And I'm like, damn it, I don't have this genre. And I went back to what I loved, and I asked myself, what is it that I love about this, and what is it that the people who, when I was doing well, what they love? And then I came up with a series that by the end of that year, I went from $600 in February to $20K in November. I've been a Kindle All-Star the last 14 months in a row, most of them both US and UK. Only missed March of last year. And what I've learned, there's a couple things that I wanted to bring. The reason why I want to talk about this particular subject is because I know so many people, and I was one of them, who wishes they could go and do what they really want to do, but something is stopping them. How many people, just by a show of hands, know a friend who is in a job that they hate, but really won't take the chance and is a little maybe envious of you being self-published? By a show of hands. Yeah. Can you imagine if we all did the thing we really wanted to do, what a different world this would be, the happiness that we would feel? Stephen Pressfield talks about this in The War of Art. He says it's the resistance that stops us. If you haven't read his book, I highly recommend it. That if we didn't have the resistance, we would be all living the life that we were supposed to be living, and there would be no abuse, no depression, no infidelities, no overeating, no alcoholism, because you'd be fucking happy, right? So the thing is what some people don't talk about. I read a lot of personal development books, and I don't mean like, how do I get him to date me? But more like how do I get successful? Like, how do I reach the next tier? I'm very much about following the successful people. That's actually how I found 20 Books to 50K. I was on K-boards, and I was really impressed with Michael Underlay's rebuttals to all the attacks on his post trying to help people. He was out there trying to help people, and they hated that he was doing something different, even though this thing that we're doing is so new. There are no rules, and yet they were holding on to it with steadfast determination and telling him he was wrong. And all he was trying to do was lift them up. So I watched it going, what the fuck? Why are they doing that? They're fighting for what they believe in so much. There's something that we fight for, and it's our beliefs. But our beliefs are not anything except for a display of our past experiences, because you were born without any of that. And there's a lot of power in knowing that, because the truth is, when you were born, you were like, nah, nah, you know, and that was it. And then a blank slate. Sure, you had some nature things that you're going to start, you know, you maybe have some mannerisms of your parents or the eyes of this person, or you might be a little bit more shy normally or whatever. But as life goes on, we learn all of those beliefs that stop us from thinking we can do what our hearts are telling us we can do. My goal today, really, because I was like, what am I going to talk about? Or I know what I want to talk about. It's always been my goal to help people. I really, really want everybody to go after their dreams. And what I love about this group of people here is that you all are doing that already just by being here. Michael did this last night, but I want to see in this larger group, by a show of hands, who is here just from the UK, lives here already? Great. How many are here from the US? How many are here from Australia? Okay, there's one.
Two,
thank you. Three? Or was it three? Okay.
Very interesting.
Like I'm not, maybe, oh, New Zealand, was it New Zealand? Like I'm not Australia, but I'll. So all of you guys like showed up because you wanted to get better, because you thought that the people up here had something to offer, because you knew that we weren't out for your money. The money is paying for this event. I mean, what other kind of thing do you do that they give the money back when they find out they spent more? Who the fuck does that? These guys do. You know, and we do. And this group, this 20 Books group, does that. We elevate people. Because the truth is that if we're all doing well, we're all doing well. Nobody has to put anybody down in order to do well. Nobody has to do 1 stars on somebody because they're jealous in order to do well. All they have to do is find what they are blocked with so that they can go and do the thing that they know in their hearts they have. We are all put on here, on this planet, I believe, with a purpose. It's what gets you out of bed in the morning. But sometimes you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, and that's the demons. So when I talk about the demons, I need a sip of water. When I talk about the demons, I don't mean the religious ones, or the urban fantasy ones. I'm not an authority on either of those, but I am an authority on the demons in our heads, because I fight with them all the time, as I'm sure, by a show of hands, how many people have the little voice that says, no, you can't do that, no, show of hands. We all do, especially artists. It's why a lot of artists combust. We've seen them all. We know the 27 Club, all those people who were so talented and died at 27. There's so much potential for combusting, and I would like it if none of us did that. And how do we do that? Like, how do you stop yourself? Because I'll tell you, as I went through, oh, also, Greg, would you tell me when I have 5 minutes? Thank you. When I went through that journey that I just told you about, where it all of a sudden meteorically shifted for me, and then I had goals. And when I hit the goal, I immediately backstepped. Oh shit, oh I did it. Oh God, I'm used to failing, right? Or I'm supposed to fail, or people are gonna attack me, and oh, here comes the 1 stars. And I've had a bunch of different things that I've actually personally endured since I've become successful. There's been a lot of weird attacks from some authors in my community. And I've had to endure this stuff, and so it's been really a battle about like the demons, because they get louder. Those moments where I hit a goal should have been, keep going. And sometimes they are, because I have to then hit the next goal. But both times, I backstepped, and I was like, oh, I can't, I did it. It's too scary. It's too fucking scary. Success is sometimes more scary than failure to some people. They say it's failure that we're afraid of, but we're used to that. If you're somebody who has not quite made it yet, or you're just starting out, it's when you start making it, you're like, am I really as awesome at this as I think I might be? Is that going to be hard for my peers to understand, my family to appreciate? Are they going to put me down and say stuff like, oh, well, you know, you're self-published, you weren't picked up by a trade pub, so it doesn't count. Like all that shit that we hear, like we have to combat that. And what are your personal demons? I don't know. But I did include a handout. There are, I don't have a presentation because I included in there the second page after the schedule. If you look on the back side, it'll be open. It'll be the 2 pages. I put a lot of cartoons and fun stuff. Yeah, so it's both sides are there. And those are for taking home. So I'm not reiterating that stuff right now. I'll just go over a couple little briefs, but that's for taking home for some exercises, especially when you feel those little demons are like, and what it is it's getting to the roots of where your personal demons are. What are the exact moments in your life where you started to believe that false belief? Because the demons are liars. All of those things that tell you you can't do what you think you can do is lying to you. And when you realize that, it is revolutionary. But unfortunately, you have to be aware of it. And a lot of times we're on autopilot because just like I don't have to think about how I walk from here to here because my body now knows. There was a time when I was like, you know what I mean? We now have made a habit of these false beliefs, just as we've made a habit of walking or breathing, or the way I talk and my vocal intonations. Those are years in the making, as are my false beliefs about myself, as are your false beliefs about yourself. Because the truth is, the little baby was like, actually I probably do better than that. So the little baby, that is the truth of you. That clean slate, which you can actually have every day. You have to be aware of the voices that are going to come up and say the wrong things in order to have that clean slate, but every time you get up in the morning. And that's very powerful because it's like, oh God, I just can't. Yes, you can, actually. You have to know what your triggers are. And triggers for happiness. I'm not saying just the negative ones. The awareness of the negative ones, and then I have some exercises in that handout to expunge them when you find out what they are. And they might seem basic, but frankly, when that shit is that deep, it needs to be basic in order to cut through the muck. Because there's gonna be a lot of parts of you wanting to hold on to what you already know about yourself. The false beliefs that you think, I'll give you some of mine. Okay, so this is really raw stuff, but this is some of my stuff. My biological father was not in the picture from age 2.5 on, probably before that. I saw him once a year my entire life. Not like every other weekend, like some divorced parents. Once a year, I saw this person. That has an impact on a girl's psyche. Everybody needs a father figure in their life. It's just obvious. Everybody says there's so much importance on the moms and the mothers, and there is. But there is just as much importance on the dads. And I am a sign of that. So I have the feeling of being unwanted or unloved because he only wanted to see me once a year. And when the person who made you only wants to see you once a year, you're going to be like wondering what the hell is wrong with you. Now I can talk about this so openly with you because I've done all the work on this stuff. And what used to be a knife is now a gnat when it came with that kind of pain. I don't have pain around this issue anymore because I've done the work. And any kind of things that you're holding on to that are very valid things that hurt you. And it could be sometimes just a look. It could be just somebody, you did something special, you brought it to somebody and they went. It could be just that. And then you think, I'm not good enough for that. Oh, I can't do that particular thing. Or it could be a vocal, you're stupid. You really think you can do that? It could be something abusive like that. It could be anything that you're holding on to, and we all have them. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that we have them. It's a bad thing if we let them rule us. Because we all have them, which means how can it really be bad? I think it's just a part of life. I think it's like the grand experiment of life. It's a game. And most of us like games. Crossword puzzles, dating, you know? But it's a game. So it's like, once you realize it's a game, then how do you play it? And you can come at it with a more light attitude, which is why I added a lot of cartoons into my little exercises. You can come at it with, okay, some shit's happened to me, but everybody else has that too. I am not alone. Everybody else has gone through pain. I am not alone. I can do something about it. And then how do you do something about it? So let's get past to the achieving the dreams part. In the exercises, I have in there a list of things that you absolutely love. A lot of times these are rooted in childhood. Something that you used to love that used to make you really happy and then you stopped doing because it seems silly. It wasn't silly. You're going to make a list. Actually, I challenge you to make a list. How about that? I challenge you to make a list of all the things you absolutely love doing that are just totally you. And do not share this list with anybody. And anything from that exercise, things that I showed you as well, the things that I've used to help heal me from that kind of thing with my dad or other things that have happened. You don't share it with anybody. It is only for you because you don't need one more person telling you anything negative. So you keep that thing because you're private. It's for you only. And that's a very special thing. When we are our own judge of right and wrong for us, that is where the power is, because then it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of you, and you get to stand in your own shoes. Then that's what you're supposed to do. And then you're an example to somebody else. So you make a list of all of the things that you absolutely love, and then you check it off. If you do it and it turns out it's not something you love, like don't hold it so, what do you call it, precious. It's not precious. It's just fun. I would love it if we all got back to the idea that this is play, that it is a game. When a challenge comes up, it's not the end of the world. It's actually just an opportunity to get better at it. It's like the Facebook ads when we're talking about, God, how do I do the Facebook ads? I need to do it right. No, you do not need to do it right the first time. I now have my ads down to like 22 cents per click. It took me a while. Like I was at 150 at one point, 46 cents at one point. When they started going up, I realized you don't increase the Facebook ads. If you're like got a Facebook ad that's doing 22, don't all of a sudden raise the budget double, because Facebook will be like, oh, really? And they'll double your CPC as well. And that's part of the game. So it's not like, God, I have to do it perfectly. You don't have to do anything perfectly. This is all a game. All of this. I remember seeing Picasso, not him personally. I saw Picasso at LACMA, and it was the Weeping Women exhibit. It was all the women he dated. It's called Weeping Women exhibit. And it was his paintings of the women that he dated and the spikies, and it was like, how come his ex-wife knew that he was cheating? Because all of a sudden there was this soft woman, and that was not her because she had the spikies. And she's like, what the fuck is up with the soft woman? By the way, I swear a lot. So, but I was watching it. What was fascinating to me was not that Weeping Women stuff. It was the early stuff, his basic landscapes. They were so basic. And then I saw the same thing over at Van Gogh, and I saw the same thing at Andy Warhol. Everybody learns the basics. And one of the things I loved about Andrew Doble, is that how you pronounce it? Andrew Doble's sharing with us today his first covers was phenomenal, because everybody wants to show you the best. We all want people to see us as the best, but we're most of the time not the best. The best is a goal, and then you get to the next goal. So when we saw him show us that cover that did not work, and he showed it, and he's like, this is rather embarrassing, actually. I was back there thinking, this is rather genius, actually. Because what happened when I saw Picasso and Van Gogh and Andy Warhol was I go, oh my God, I get to screw up. Because I was so used to seeing their masterpieces that I was like, I don't have that. Can't do that, that's amazing. And it turned out, basic-ass landscape looked like what my grandmother had done, that Picasso had done. It was like this grandmother one, you know? And I was like, because you have to start somewhere, and then you have to fail and find it and change and this, and use your influences here and find your thing here. And the only thing you can do that with is if you have a love for it and a sense of play, or just plain drive, which is maybe what a lot of you are here for, because maybe you just really want this that bad that you paid for this ticket and you're here. But I believe that there is a love for this as well that gets you in that seat. And if you can find that love, you can find anything to get you going when you are having a hard time and those sales are not coming in, and that cha-ching is not happening on Book Report, or somebody left you a 1-star review, or you started doing well and they started leaving you a lot of them, because I recently had on one of my books, God, why does this author have so many 5-star reviews when real authors get 1-star reviews on their books, and real authors are putting out real books? I'm like, are you the real author you're talking about? I'm pretty sure you are. It's like, when you have that stuff and it attacks you and you want to defend, or you want to share it with your friends, look at this fucker. You know, it's like, you don't need to. You can kind of just go, it just goes, hey, because you love this so much. Who cares what they do? I had a bunch of attacks recently. I briefly mentioned that. I'm not going to go into the details because I don't want to even air those out anymore. But my reader group, my Facebook group, is now quite loyal, and they're fucking amazing. And I love them to death. And it's taken a lot of personal connection and connectivity and like building a family relationship with these people and doing that. And what they did for me over Christmas was they formed a little separate group. I was getting a lot of attacks. Some people even took pirated, I'll just say one thing. They pirated a couple of my books to get me kicked out of Kindle Unlimited. They put them on, they published them into iTunes. Jesus. Yeah, 2 of my books. And one of them had just been offered, Amazon contacted me, they wanted to help promote the book. And it was the first time they'd done that because my book is steamy romance. I write the Cocker Brothers Cocky series. And there are 15 books in that series now, and this is the first time that Amazon had contacted me to help, and I was like, thank God, because as we all know, we're doing all of the work ourselves. I'm paying for all of my advertising. It would have been really nice if Amazon had helped me. And then everybody, like, I'm waiting for that, and some of my friends who've gotten the sim letter got their, yay, you're getting the special deal. I got a letter saying, we found your book on iTunes. You have 5 days to change this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, are you kidding me? So this kind of stuff was happening to me at a record rate. And I was handling it because my readers were going crazy because they saw this and they're like, what the, like, who does this? I'm like, I don't know who does this, but I don't want you attacking anybody. There were some things that they could have because they had names and they could have gone and left 1 stars. They could have done stuff on Goodreads. They could have gone crazy and all that stuff. And I told them, I do not want you to do that. That's bullying. This is bullying too, but I don't fight back bullying with bullying. We fight with light. And I came up with the hashtag fight with light. We fight with light. Light dispels the shadows. You just get better, basically. And they all started a separate group, and I started getting these Christmas cards that said fight with light on all of the, I'm going to get teary. They all said fight with light on the envelopes and in the cards. And I cried when I got them, and I didn't know that they were doing this, and there was just a slew of them, and I was like, holy crap, because that is what you do this for. You know, to have readers come up, and because of, and it took me 4.5 years to find my hit. 4 years to find my hit, you know. But when I did, now I have this family, and I have this I'm making a living making up stories. That's what we're doing here, right? So when we get all bogged down by the numbers and the research and the money, you gotta have this and the ads and the la, forget about that for just a second when it starts to really get to you and go, holy crap, I make up shit. And then they buy it. I put a pretty garbage on the front and then they buy it. And then they tell their friends, did you read the story? She just told me a bedtime story and I freaking loved it. What bedtime story? Listen to that. Oh my God. It's all back to childhood, really. We're all just telling stories. We're here to invent entire worlds for people. I mean, the Arthurian Gambit and all of the people who are attached to Michael Andrelei's thing and all of the people he's come, we're all here because he started this, and then it grew of its own volition with all the other people who believed in it, stood up for it. Craig putting this together and saying, I think we should have a conference. And then it just fucking going, like, because of all the amazing light. You know, because when Andrelei was in that K-Boards and they were attacking him, and the reason why I followed him, I didn't know about him, because I don't write in that genre. I sat there and I go, who is this person? Because everything that they were saying, and they were like, nah, 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 nah. And he's like, look, I'm just trying to help you. You want to hold on to what you're doing? Fine. I'm over here now. And I'm like, where are you going? I'm going with you. You know? And I had to search for it. I found him on Facebook. What's your group? What's your group? I'm trying to find you. And then I, you know, became a part of that, and there's that. Because I really believe we're at the beginning. We're creating something with self-publishing. I think that Pronoun, sorry, McMillan, if you're watching this later, but I think Pronoun was put together to check us out. How the heck are they doing what they're doing? Let's offer a platform where they can self-publish with us. And we're going to shut down. We're shutting down. We've got the research. Because I think that they don't understand, and we don't even understand, that we're at the start of something big. This is like when the silent movies turn to talkies. And then the silent movies were gone. When the, what's the other one? Well, gosh, film, I was a photographer for a decade. So when film, I started out with film and then digital, and that took over, and nobody shoots with film, or they can, but they do it because they're like, well, I shot this with film. But really, it just means you spent a lot more money doing that, didn't you? And you had to tell everybody, so it made any sense for you to do that, because we can't tell the difference. Because things are changing, and all of you sitting in the seat today with the self-published, where the people are saying, oh, it's not the same as being with Trade Pub, and some of you maybe are hybrids, and that's great. I mean, but you're here at the forefront of a thing that we're building together. We get to determine it together. And I bring that back to your, is that 5 minutes? Oh, how long do I have?
10.
Shit. We get to do that together. That's really important, frankly. Because whoever is at whatever level, we're doing it together. When I was at the $600 a month, or when I first started, I was saying this last night, I wrote my first ebook because I watched Lena Dunham's episode of Girls, where she got a job of writing an ebook. And the entire episode, she's sitting there going, okay, I'll do the ebook. Okay, oh, I get to write an ebook. And then she's bragging to everybody, and then she's like, oh God, how am I going to write an ebook? And then finally she writes the ebook, and that is the episode. And I watched it, and I'm like, what the fuck is an ebook? This is 2013. And I started researching everything I could possibly find about ebooks. Successful self-published authors started popping up, and I'm like, wait a minute, you get to self-publish? Because I was an actor for a long time, and I still am one. But it's like, going through the rejection process of auditions has got to be one of the worst things you can possibly imagine, especially over 2 decades as I've been in it. It's constantly going up and going, here I am, and then going, forever. And I really didn't want to take my book and go, would you please publish my story? And then going, no. And me getting rejection letters, and I mean, I applaud the people who put them all on the walls and do all that stuff, that's great, but I couldn't do it after 2 decades in Hollywood. So, self-publishing is like, it's kind of a metaphor, frankly, for our lives. We are writing our own story. And that goes back to what my point is. Fighting demons and achieving dreams. You get to write your story, just as you get to write your books. Now, with your books, your readers are the judge, and they will pay for it, blah, blah. But with your story, you get to be the judge. And the people whose opinion matters to you, if you want to let them be the judge, fine. But that's up to you. You get to choose everything you do. That's the great thing about being an adult. There's a lot of responsibility to it, but as soon as we left the house, every choice we make is ours. And you're like, no, but I got kids, and no, but I got a husband, yeah, I got a wife, I got the dog. Yeah, and you chose that. So how do you make it fun? There's always a way to make something fun. I think somebody was mentioning readers. I have a reader writing. Was it you that was saying readers writing to you and saying they made, yes, it was, Michael was saying about a wife waking up the husband, they made him laugh. I got an email recently from one of my readers, had been through massive depression, had massive illnesses, years of them, and then she woke up her husband in the middle of the night reading my book because she was laughing. And he woke up and was like, and she said he was so surprised to hear me laugh, and he goes, it's so good to hear you laugh again. And now their relationship has been starting to rebuild, and she like reads him the passages that make her laugh, and they've been starting to, she's been opening up again. And that kind of thing is what I want you guys to do for yourselves today, because you are the writers, right? So that means you're already artists to begin with, which means you already have the creative ability to create anything you want in an imaginary universe. What if we took that into our own lives? You guys know Trader Joe's? By show of hands. Anybody know what Trader Joe's is, the grocery store? Okay, for the other people, Trader Joe's is a cheaper Whole Foods. Do you know Whole Foods? Well, Amazon bought it, so we probably know about that news. But Trader Joe's is a fantastic little supermarket. And I was in the line, and I had all my stuff, and the checker picks up this mango juice, and he goes, oh my God, I love this. I go, I know, me too, it's so good. He goes back to checking, and I'm looking at my stuff, and I go, in fact, I like all this stuff. That's why I'm buying it. And that was his exact reaction. But it was like an epiphany for both of us. Because I'm like, I get to buy whatever I want to eat now. Because I'm an adult. I don't have to eat your broccoli. No! You know what I mean? I don't have to eat mushrooms, and don't even think about it, Faleena. Don't you throw up that mushroom. You stare at it, swallow it, and I'm like, now I don't have to eat mushrooms. I hate mushrooms, by the way. If you love them, God bless you. But that's the thing, is we get to do whatever we want. And the second we realize that, is you forget. You think you're a victim. You're not a victim. Even if horrible things happen to you, you want to think that something's too horrible that happened to you, go watch the Olympics where they're missing limbs and like running around and doing amazing stuff, and then you'll be like, oh, I probably shouldn't. Not that your thing isn't real, because your pain is real. It really happened, but it didn't happen today. It was history. Then it became a demon. It became that little idea that you can't do this, that you need to have this kind of barrier between you and what you really want. If you can remove that demon and heal that thing that happened to you, because it's not, I'm just going to say that again because it's so important. I just actually never thought about it this way, but it is not happening to you today. That horrible thing that happened to you, or those many horrible things that happened to you, did not happen to you today. This is a new day. You get to make it whatever you want. Anything you want. You don't want to live where you're living, you can live anywhere you want to. You might need to get a visa, but you can live anywhere you want. You don't like your marriage, you can make it better. You can take some steps. You love this person enough to make the changes, you can change it. But you have to be aware of what it is that's stopping you. Meaning you have to be aware that it's even holding you back from happiness. And frankly, if you just feel bad, that's enough of a notice. It's just that we're so used to feeling bad when something is happening for a while that you just don't make the changes to go and adjust it. Okay, so back to the list of the happy things that you like to do. I realize that everything, thank you, everything that you do, is this the end?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, great. Everything, I've realized the healing that comes from anything I've done, the healing comes from self-love and self-care. It goes back to when we're on the airplane and they say put the oxygen on you before you help others. It used to be children, and then they made that more politically correct. They're like, help others. I'm not going to say don't help your children. But what you really need in life to put the mask on you first. And that comes through self-love and self-care. And that list, as childish as it might seem, and I even put cartoons on it to make it even more childish, just to really get through. Write a list of things you absolutely love, and when you are feeling like shit, do one of them. When you are feeling like crap and you feel like you can't do this anymore and you're not making the money you wanted to, or you started not making the money you used to, or you forgot that's not even about the money, go back to that list, to the things that only you know about that you absolutely love to do, and do it. Because when you take care of yourself and you find that fun again in your heart and that little gut that makes you go, I fucking love this, I love this mango juice. Whatever it is, your little thing, you all of a sudden can tackle any problem. You know how it is when somebody runs you off the road or flips you off or whatever. If you're in a good mood, you're like, dumbass. Other times you're like, come on, You want to come at it with for everything. And the way you do that is by taking care of yourself first. Then you can bring everything that's good to your relationships, to your writing career, to your love, to just yourself. And everybody, when you smile, people smile. Just try it with a stranger. Just walk up and just really smile at them. Hi, how are you doing today? Good. Yeah, I love this on you. And mean it. That's not manipulation. This is really just come from a place of love, and people react differently. And that's pretty much what I wanted to say today. So first, real quick, you are capable of everything you think you can do. That is what I really want you to know. The only one starting in front of you is you. If you can get rid of the things that are blocking you by some of the simple exercises I gave you to start off with, you can have anything that you really want if you really want it bad enough. You will find a way. And that is amazing and powerful. And you are powerful. And you are beautiful, on the inside and out, and you always have been. just exactly as you are. A lot of the things you are trying to fix about yourself are actually the things that are going to keep you different from other people, and that people are going to love. Your people, not these other people you might not have been pleasing. So be you. You get to be you. If I could just leave you with that today, like, that you're amazing, maybe. And if you already know you are, fucking awesome, because you are. And thank you very much.